Good afternoon there once again, everybody. Silver Dragon here, coming at you with some Kerbal Space Program. It's a lovely little independent game that I've been playing to death recently, like crazy. So I'm going to do a little bit of a challenge here in a sense. I'm going to start a new game. A new sandbox game. Let's go... Silver Dragon works. I'll use the typical flag. And I'm going to attempt to land on the moon. Without the use of any extra little tools. McJeb, goodbye. And whatever this laser powered crap is. Good, everything is disabled on that. So, I'm going to try and do this with as much vanilla-ness as I can, depending. But I will be doing a few little modified things to it. So, let's see here. What do I want to start off with? Do I want to do with the lander can? Yeah, let's do the lander can. Good old standard lander can will do. Alright, so I'm going to make use of... Well, let me go to control first. Add this reaction wheel on here for the SAS. It'll help me out a little bit. I'll have to place them on the other thing when I get the chance. So let's get some actual SAS here. There you go. Advanced SAS module. Alright, now we'll go to propulsion. Now, I am going to be using one of the mods, though, which is stretchy tanks, which allows me to customize my actual tank here, so I can just go like this, hit R, and I can stretch this to however much I want. Shows the tons, the total mass, the liquid fuel in it. I can hit G on this, it would cycle which kind of fuel is in it. Oh, yeah, I forgot I need another one of these because of the monopropellant. I don't need a lot of monopropellant though, so I can just go like this. Yeah, 3,000 is more than enough monopropellant. Even that is kind of pushing it like too much. So let's go find me. Here we go. Some heavy RCS thrusters. I'm going to go ×4. Now this may help some people get to the moon with some of the things I'll be doing here. Or I might not, you know, because failures and insanity. So, yeah. But anyway. Now I'm going to go over to structural. If I can. So you see I have a lot of parts on this thing. A lot of extra parts. I'm going to try and do this at a bit of an angle. Propulsion. Back to the stretchy tanks. There we go. Now this last bit here, actually I should almost use this tank for it. Oh, jeez. We changed that back to the correct type. Alright. Now I have no idea which engines are stock at this point. So I'm just going to go with something that works well for me. We'll go with this guy. It's a nice liquid fuel engine. Pretty decent amounts of thrust to it. Now, you guys actually need to be lit lower. I may have to adjust this thing down. Probably would be the better idea, actually. Just to adjust this lower. Because I want to be using these for their legs, as legs, basically. So let's go to utilities. And where are my legs at? I have a couple different legs. These ones... kind of nice little legs, they deploy. These ones are also nice little lander legs that deploy. But my personal preference for legs is apparently missing right now. There it is. There it is. This guy right here, my personal preference for lander legs. So that should get me down there nicely. Hopefully. If this thing has enough thrust to it. That's the thing. That's the one thing that's worrying me, is that it won't have enough get up and go. So let me actually add a slightly more powerful engine to this thing. Let's go over to propulsion. Service module. Nah. Oh, damn. That'd be a beast. That'd be too much though. Too much power. Too much power to the engines. 2,600. Oh, that would be 7,500. That would definitely be too much. 2,200. I'm not trying to flatten myself on the moon here. There's some really nice ones I had. I'm trying to figure out where they're at, though. They looked kind of odd. Ooh, this is new. Oh, this is the Kethane modules. Ah, that's a whole nother thing I've added on here, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Ah, the little mother. Let's go with that. That should be sufficient. Now, let's go to control. And add these guys on here as well. To kind of stabilize it. As I need to. Alright, now I'm gonna go into... No, I'm not gonna screw around with that right now. No, so I'm good with that. I'm good with all that right now. My bad, my bad. Alright, so let's get some more stretchy tanks then in that case. Since we're pretty much ready to go here for that. So this is a really fun little game. Half this game isn't even spent, you know, launching rockets. Well, actually, half the game is spent launching and otherwise landing rockets, and the other half of this game is spent doing what I am doing right now, and that's building really cool rockets and trying not to forget things like I tend to do. Okay, now this one is getting my super engine. Yeah, all these guys right here that I'm going to be adding onto this are getting my super engine. Now, I was forgetting something here. Ah, yes, one of the other major important things you need for a spaceship, and that's power. So let's get into my utilities here. Now, I have some really, really nice power cells here somewhere. If I can find them. Ah, here they are. Battery collar. Shit, don't want it there. Let's add it up top for safety. There we go, that's quite a bit of electric charge. Reattach you. Yeah, because I don't want that there. I don't want it interfering, so it's going to go up top. Like that. Although I don't want it blocking the modules, so I'll put it right here. So it's kind of matching with these guys. No, we'll go like that. Because that way they can adjust themselves however they need to. Okay, so we have our monopropellant. We have pretty much everything we need. I think I want to add a little bit more monopropellant, though, just in case. And let's also add some lights to this thing. Where do I want to put them, though? We'll put a couple lights right there. And then we'll put just a couple spotlights right here. And likewise, let's put some spotlights up top here, shall we? Although I can't block the door. No, that's good enough. That's good enough. We don't need to make this thing too crazy. Even though it kind of is. Alright, so, let's balance this baby out now. So we need to go all the way to the right here. Let me zoom out. Alright. Now again, let's go propulsion, stretchy tank. Now I'm hoping this thing's not going to be too heavy for it to lift up, because otherwise it's going to suck. Let me adjust this whole thing down. Trying to keep this balanced with that, so that we don't cause it to start spinning in the wrong directions, that the weight's off-centered, then it's really going to cause you problems. Oops. There we go. That's a little bit better, I think. It's not quite perfect, but you know, it'll do. I suppose. Maybe. Now let's adjust that a little bit more. There we go. That's centered properly. Okay, so again. Oops, I forgot to click the right one. Is that interfering with the other rocket? Yeah, it is. I thought so. So I'll have to use some slightly different engines for these guys. Won't have quite the same power. Unless I can find something that has... No, this one is modified, so I guess I am kind of going back on that whole not as modified kind of thing I said earlier. Yeah, no, I'm totally modifying it. I'm at least not using too many of the crazy things I have here, because I could just throw on... I could literally just slap on these massive rockets if I wanted to. Yeah, we'll have to do with these quads. It'll have to do. Alright. Structural again. And we're going to do the same thing. Alright. Propulsion. Stretchy tanks. Alright, and then the engines. Nice. So these are going to help get this thing on the ground. Now the trick to this, the trick to make sure that this runs and works properly, let me kind of get us a little more fuel in these guys, in these side tanks, is to take the external fuel duct, make sure you're 4 times if you have 4 of these, and start from the outer edge and work your way in. By doing this, when you disconnect the outer tank, it refuels everything in the center. Like when your fuel runs out, your fuel didn't actually run out, it just used up all the fuel in the outer tanks. Then you eject them and they fall down to the ground. And then you use up all the fuel in the second tank, eject them. So all these engines here are running off of the fuel on the last tank in the line here. The first tank, I guess you could say, in the line. And then it works its way inwards to the final tanks. Now, you're also going to want what I call space duct tape, because these things tend to fall apart a lot. Now, the default space duct tape that you have is a strength of 150, shear strength of 150, so it's not that great. I use a couple modded ones from the Nova Punch pack, which have a little bit more power. This is the super heavy one, and I'm just going to go with some just heavy ones here. These help hold this thing together when it wants to blow itself apart. Now, by getting these modified ones, you don't have to, you know, screw around with it as much, because otherwise you would have to put in like 50 of these things in order to hold it together at times. Depending on how much thrust it has, it could just blow itself apart entirely. And the less of these you have on, the better. Alright, let's use the big ones for these. Alright. Now, in order to keep this thing generally stable, we will attach each of these to the rocket in their own way. I could also attach them to each other to ensure that they don't blow each other apart a little bit. All this just works to stabilize the rocket, basically. Alright, now the last step, I have fuel, I have power, I have fuel for my RCS, some monopropellant for my RCS thrusters, which are these maneuvering thrusters. Everything is pretty good. Now the last thing you're going to need is just something to hold this thing up while you're launching it. So that's these guys right here. The stability enhancers. Now you could just launch this thing flat on the surface if you really wanted to, but I always put these on and just launch it from a higher altitude, I will say. Alright, now we'll go for the center here. Well, probably this thing actually, because it has a wider gaith to the front of it. Now, it's important that you make sure to set these boosters on the proper, everything here on the proper stage as well. Every single one of these that I just built right here have to go on the first stage. Okay. Now, likewise, all the engines for the primary initial thrust need to be on the same stage. So once these disengage, all the engines start burning. Now, you need to figure out which one of these disconnect at the same time. So yes, that's the first one that I want to disconnect. We'll create another stage. There we go. Those are the second ones I want to disconnect. And one thing I did screw up on, though, is that I need to put another decoupler here for this one to disengage. And luckily that is in structural, so I can just go in here. Now, there's a bunch of stock ones, but I like the I like going for these what's called stock decouplers, because they're a little bit larger, as you can kind of see here. So they fit the the new parts perfectly well for the size. Now, the issue with these, of course, is the same, that they tend to shake themselves apart a bit, especially when you're using that. So I'm going to do one more little bit of rope here to tie these together. Alright, we're good here. So everything is now staged properly, so these will be disconnected first, then this will be disconnected, and then finally we have the final stage, which will be disconnected eventually. Alright, so let's launch this guy and get going. And see if we can get to the moon. Alright, let's do this, guys. Let's do this. Now, there are a lot of different things you can do in this, although it is all sandbox right now. There is no objectives. That is going to be coming soon. Their next update should have the, because the last update they did was the framework for the mission career mode. So the next update will, oh fuck, I screwed up. Oops. So yeah, make sure your engines are turned on before you drop yourself. Really helps a lot. Really helps a lot. Right here in the bottom right corner, we have my pilot for this thing, Jebediah Kerman. So my engine in the center here is running really hot, as you can tell from that. Now you want to keep yourself centered here as much as possible until you reach at the very top here about 10,000 meters, at which point you want to bank in whatever direction you wish. I always bank to the right, personally, to about a 40-45 degree angle, so somewhere around this little line right here, basically. And once you've done that to about, God, what's the number? About 30K, you start to bank yourself, 40K. You bank yourself straight to the edge. There we go. See, that disconnects and all the fuel is back on there. And sorry about that, somebody's messaging me now. Apologies for the blocking of Jebediah Kerman's face. Okay. So we're approaching it now. We're at about 9,000. Now, banking is incredibly important. You save so much fuel by doing it. Ridiculous amounts of fuel. Now, if you want, you can also enable your SAS, either by temporarily holding F, or enabling it entirely by hitting... Oh, shit, that's the wrong button. By hitting T. So there we go, banked all the way to the right. I think I might have banked at the wrong angle. Usually I bank over there. Yeah, I did bank at the wrong angle. Adjust myself over here. That works. Or did I? I don't even know, man. So anyway, we're continuing on here. So you see, by setting these fuel ducts to fuel the inner tube, all the engines use up the outer fuel, and then it leaves the inner one eventually on with full fuel when it gets near orbit. Let's burn a little harder here a bit. But you really have to worry about these little points right here where you're connecting one rocket to another set of rockets, because that can cause it to pretty much tear itself apart at that seam, basically. Okay, let's bank myself a little further. Oh, there we go. Disconnect that part. Oh, that's not good. See, we're wiggling a lot here now. So I'm going to lower that a bit. So we reached 40,000, so let's start banking ourselves. Straight down to the edge. Now, you don't want to go beyond the edge, but you just want to be on the, like, right near the edge. That will allow you to get the proper orbit. So you can see how it's starting to shake itself really bad here now. That's exactly the kind of problem you want to avoid. Because you can see all the things that were connected. I should have connected it from here to there. All the little bits of space duct tape that were connecting these three together are now gone. Because my one problem with the KSP is that the parts are not welded together in a sense. They're kind of floating on each other and slightly connected. So you get this kind of wobble. If I were to put this thing on full burn right now, it would just rip this whole ship apart. So I made a mistake with the design. I should have had space duct tape going from here to these rockets, and that would have kept it together until we separate this. Now let's go to my orbital map. Oh yeah, I definitely orbited the wrong way. But that's okay. Okay, let's go to staging now. We're gonna slow down at this point. Now my prolapsus, which is my pretty much the highest degree of angle, I'm going to adjust myself so I get an orbit around the planet like that. So I'm just going to click on the line and then adjust it. So now I need to go back to staging and locate, right there it is. Turn on my RCS thrusters with R. which are these little guys. And we'll adjust just over here. I'm going to use the E and R to, or E and Q, I should say, to spin myself a little bit using the RCS. All right, so you want to get your little dot here as centraled into the other dot as you can. Okay, let's stop the spin. Well, I'll spin a little bit more. I want to kind of be level here. There we go. There we go. Now, if you really want to, you can hit this button right here, which is the warp, and it will instantly stabilize your ship. It's a little bit cheaty in a way because it's, your ship is spinning out of control. It should not stop unless you use your thrusters to stop it. But at times you just can't control as much. Now we got a minute left until we reach our destination, so I'm going to speed up time about 10 times, and we're going to wait until we. Oh nope, try not to go beyond it. There we go, 20 seconds. Alright. 4, 3, 2, 1. And begin to burn. Of course, again, try not to burn too much so as not to shake this thing apart. Any more than this, it's kind of sad actually. Any more than this and it would shake itself to pieces. But I really need more thrust than this in order to properly meet my line. As you can see, it is adjusting it, but I may be off a little bit. Hopefully not by much. Because if you do too little thrust, then it can adjust the course. Generally, it's not too bad as long as you're staying straight on and make sure to be within it for this. You're fine, but sometimes it can make the difference. Okay, let's slow down. As we get closer, you want to slow down and just keep adjusting up because it'll start to make a lot more subtle adjustments. Like that, and there we go. We're done. With a margin of 0.4 milliseconds. You can see I'm a little bit off from the way I was because I was going too slow. But I'm still in an orbit around the planet, and that's a good thing. Now, the bad thing is I screwed up my angle, so now I'm not angled properly with the moon. So that's a major issue, actually. So what I'm going to do is, what I'm going to have to do is adjust my... Well, I don't want to do it right there if that's the way it's going to be. Okay. So I'm trying to adjust myself away from here. This isn't quite the way I want it right now. But it's not exactly being nice to me at this angle. That will have to do. It's not a perfect solution, but it'll have to do. Because once I get in a wrong orbit like this, it tends to screw me over a lot. So, had I banked right perfectly the way I had intended to, I would be in the right plane, but I screwed it up. Actually, you know what? It would be more... Let me revert the flight to launch here. It would be more problematic to actually adjust my course now that I screwed it up than to just redo the damn launch. Rise! Now, of course, we could also apply brake. We don't want to have any brakes on this thing. If you had a rover, applying the brakes would actually stop the wheels and such. Gears, not so much on that, as far as, well, not what I know about it. Lights, of course, would turn on or turn off the lights, but it's daylight. We won't be able to see them much anyway right now. Alright. Now, I need to bank directly along this line, right here, to the right. That is the perfect angle. So you really do want to bank it that way if you can. Now, for those that are actually new at it and may want to, get up into orbit without having to have a lot of the issues with it, you could use the McJeb autopilot if you wish. I use it every now and then just because I'm lazy and it, lazy. Trying to use my RCS thrusters to adjust my course back to the right here, so I do not lose the angle that I need. Alright, well, we're already at 10k. I haven't banked yet. That's terrible of me. Okay, I'm going to give it more of a 35-degree angle than this time around. My bad. I've lost 3 kilometers worth of, 3,000 kilometers worth of decent fuel. That's not good. Oh well. Let's disable the SAS. I can control it perfectly fine myself now at this point. I really should have gone back to the facility and reattached these properly, but I didn't do so. See, it's starting to spin now. I'm trying to counteract it, but oh shit! Nearly. Now we're having some problems here, as you can see. We're kind of spinning out a lot. I'm trying to control it, but it's not having any of it. Doing my best to try and get this baby out of control. We are approaching 40,000, so I really need to do the other burn now. Okay, I managed to get this thing sort of under control, but I still gotta get back to where I was trying to. We're still rising right now. That's the good thing. So we're not too boned. We're not too boned. A little bit, but not too much. There we go. Got it under control again. So yeah, you really got to be careful when you detach other units, because it can and will blow up in your face at times. Yeah, I should have attached this to the rocket, and then the rocket to the other rockets to stabilize it better. Check my orbital map, see how it is. Yeah, so far we're not looking too good. Let me bank it up a little bit more. Even though I didn't want to waste all that much fuel doing that. Oh great, now I got other people messaging me. I should really disable that for now. Okay, orbital map. It's not too bad. But I still want to go a bit higher. Shit. Oh, this is really bad. This is really bad. This was a terrible launch. I should have just adjusted the rocket to fix all of its shortcomings. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's call it. Add the maneuver. Quickly add the maneuver. Quickly add the maneuver. It'll do. It'll do. Where do I need to be? 6 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I'm really scared about this thing just blowing itself apart right now. Oh well, if it does blow itself apart, I'll go back to the vehicle assembly building, and I will fix it before we relaunch this again, so that it will not have all these problems again. Come on. There we go. We have orbit. It is an orbit that is sort of in line with the moon. Sort of. And the moon is right over there. Now, what we want to do is, we want to speed up time a little bit and kind of get around here, even though my orbit is kind of terrible. It'll have to do. Okay, so once you get in a decently stable orbit around the Earth, which you're Kerbin, as it were, what you want to do is, in order to get to the moon, you want to align yourself properly with it. So when your horizon meets the moon, when you're about to just pass over it, a little bit further than that. Speed this up a little bit. That should do it. Nope, a little bit more. So right about here, when it's just beyond the horizon, you want to take the edge of that and then start... oh, shoot, no. Don't delete it. And then take the green bit and just stretch it. Also, if you select it as your target, it will help to show where the heck it is. But usually just doing this is pretty good. Like right there. There we go. That's a good moon encounter. So that works pretty much every time. So now again I need to stage this guy. Or go back to staging and adjust it to where the blue is. Now this burn is probably not going to work the first time because the engine is just not stable enough to go full thrust. Besides, it's going to be out of power here soon anyway. Usually, like, if I hadn't screwed it up before, I probably would have got up here with most of the fuel, and I could have just, you know, took off there with the last amount of it. If it was a stable rocket, the last bit of fuel left in this should have allowed me to adjust the course to the moon, and the rest would have been up to the other thrusters. Okay. 50, 40. There we go, 10 seconds. 5, 4. In that case, let me burn early since I won't be able to burn fully. It's actually not doing too bad right now. It's allowing me to use a lot more thrust than I thought it would. Alright, there we go. Whoa! So we activated the other engines. Now these are all stabilized properly. I'm just trying not to use up too much fuel, because if we use up too much fuel, we're going to be crashing on the moon instead of landing on it. But luckily, I am using a similar method, I think. I did channel the fuel down to the center, so we should be okay. If I disengage them, they would allow me. But then again, I can't disengage them because I need to land with them. I also did not add a parachute to this thing. So it is a one-way trip. Beautiful. We're still on target. Nice. Alright, let's speed this baby up. Up to 1,000 times I usually do. Now, you can quick save and quick load if you need to, especially when you start to approach it like this. A lot of things can go wrong. So you want to hit F5 to quick load or quick save, and F9 to quick load. Just in case, if you're trying to land on the moon multiple times. Of course, you could just do it, you know, all the way or die kind of thing. You know, no save. Iron Man mode, as it were. But yeah, I like to quick save just so I don't screw it up too much, because especially when you're first practicing, you need all the advantage you can get. Now, you do not want to be warping when you hit this point, as it will screw up the angle that it then selects for you. So, warp a little bit to get close to it, but don't warp into it, because it has to do some calculations of the gravity and such. 5 times. That's about all I can do at this point. Get ready and disengage. Alright, we should be hitting that momentarily. So once you hit moon encounter, the moon should drag you into its gravitational pull. And bam, like that. Now I only land on the light side of the moon. Oh, we're having some issues. Uh-oh. It's not responding. That's not good. That's not good. In which case, I'd have to cut this thing off because I don't want to subject you guys to the loading of all my parts. Come on, baby. Don't you not respond to me. Work, you bastard. Work. Oh, no. It's a good thing. Or did I quick save? Fuck, I don't think I did. Shit. Oh, well. That means I'd have to redo this whole thing all over again if that's true. Come on, Kerbal Space Program. Don't be such a bastard. Oh, man. I don't really want to have to do this all over again. Why you hate me? Why? Yeah, fuck it. It's toast. It'd be more efficient just to shut the bitch down and then relaunch it. Sadly. Failed to launch. And then launching. So that sucks. That just bloody sucks. Because now I have to load all this again, and that takes a good like minute or two. So yeah, because I have so many different parts and part packs in this that it has to load all that up and then go into the game itself. So I got the what do I have here? The aerospace pack, the Soviet pack, which a lot of my rockets tend to come from. The McJeb pack, where I get my super space duct tape. Or not the McJeb pack. McJeb is the autopilot, and it's the Nova Punch pack where I get my super duct tape. Yes, Nova Punch. That's what I was trying to think of. My bad. My bad. Alright. And then, of course, there's a bunch of new stuff I added on there as well to help in certain situations, such as the crew management mod, which allows me to actually manage my crew and tell like who goes on the mission, who is stationed in what part of the ship. If I happen to have more than one cockpit, I could designate the one guy to be in one guy to be in the other if I wished. All that kind of stuff on the launch pad. Because there is a way to do it. When you click on the launch pad from the main space center, it's supposed to allow you to do that, to assign what crew goes on the ship. But it hasn't functioned properly for me at times. So that's why I picked up that mod. Because most of the time when I clicked on with that and did OK launch mission with one guy piloting, it'd be like, nope, closing window, try again. Even with a full crew, I don't think it actually launches properly. So it's really weird like that. I don't know. I don't know what kind of bugs are in that, but we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, I am greatly looking forward to the next update, which will have the career mode stuff. Basically, you'll start out with basic amount of cash and parts, and you'll have certain objectives to do. You'll have to research new technologies, new piece like parts and all that kind of stuff. Resume saved. Silver Dragon, one flight in progress. That's good. So it might be in progress on the launch pad, or it might be in progress about to hit the moon. We'll find out. We'll go to the little guy on the right here, which is our space radar. Yeah, looks like it is on the moon, or heading to the moon. That's good. All right. Let's get to that. There's also the Kethane mod, which allows you to mine for a fuel called Kethane. But that is something else entirely that I haven't even personally got into yet. Alright, this time I'm going to quick save it before it hits that node, because that node is when it starts calculating a lot of different things, so it tends to have issues at times. Usually doesn't crash like it did, but it has issues. Alright, let's quick save right here, so we don't have to do that. At least we don't have to redo the launch, that's the good thing. I was really worried that we'd have to redo the entire launch. Alright, slow it down. There we go. So you can see it did a little bit of a wider turn this time around, I think. Now, I only land on the light side of the moon, because that way you can actually see where you're landing. So right about here, I'm going to do a maneuver. I'm going to drag myself in about there. I want to try and land in the place that's the least pocketed with asteroids, if I can. Oh, well, that's about the best view I'm going to get for it. So let's kind of adjust myself down a bit. That's perfect. That's a perfectly nice little flat field there. Not as many asteroids. Now, I have landed in... Where's that crater? Let me zoom out here for a second. I have landed in this crater before. It is a very difficult crater to land in because there's just so many pockets everywhere. Same thing for all these major craters. They're just, oh man, such a pain in the ass to try and land in there. Alright, let's turn off my SAS module so I have full control over the rocket. Now you don't wanna push this thing too much like that. If you can, orbiting the moon also helps a bit, so you can pick, like, orbit around so you can pick your perfect landing site, and then just go with it. Alright, 23 minutes until the burn. Hopefully it's not that large a burn. Now you don't want to burn too much, because if you're, well, directly towards the moon, because if you do, well, let me turn on the lights here so you can actually see what the hell's going on. And let me also deploy... Oh yes, I'm warping. Let me also deploy the panels here to collect some of the sun's glorious radiation. I can leave these deployed if I... No, I'll probably retract these before we land. Alright, let's do this. Time warp. So now we have all the lights on here. It brightens it up a little bit. Kind of put this between the sun. 7 minutes. There we go. 30, 20, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, burn. Get that course set in as soon as possible. You can also hit control if you, or control, caps locks if you want to enable subtle controls, which will allow you to, well, control things more subtly. There we go. My orbit is now perfectly designated to that. So we should land relatively where I want to. Now, you're going to want to find that this little guy right here you saw before on the other end there. That is the ascent guidance. So if you want to go up and out, up and away, that's what you aim for. For this is your re-entry one, so you want to burn against this. This is how much, like, this is me going straight down in the dot here. This is how much of an angle, like how much I'm sliding in this direction. So you want to counteract that before you start landing right down here. So once you've counteracted that to the center, towards the moon, you start to burn on the center only, and let yourself drop and burn, let yourself drop and burn, and just rinse and repeat like that. So let's turn off the lights for now. Let's retract the panels. Retract all the panels right now, as we are going to be re-entering the atmosphere here soon. Well, what atmosphere it has, which is nothing, but still, gravitational pull, yada yada yada. You get the gist. So now I tend to only try to burn at, oh Jesus, oh fuck. Well, I screwed up. Oh god, I don't think I'll have enough to counteract this. I might, but I doubt it. I warped too damn fast. I clicked off the screen accidentally. You saw that. We're done. Shit. Quick load, quick load. Alright, so that's why you try not to warp too much or rely on it too much, because you end up putting a little too much warp in, and that's also why I quick save. Let me brighten this up for you guys so you can actually see this thing a bit. Because you warp a little too much, and then you're boned. I can't believe I screwed myself over like that. I'm a little pissed at myself. Come on, a little bit closer. There we go. So now I have to make my adjustment course again. That'll be alright. Alright. God damn it, for the last time. You know what? Screw it. I have to delete it now because we're too far along. Alright, let's see if I can get in that nice area again. I'm trying to angle myself just so I can see this, but I can't. Really. Let me try angling this the other way. Stop trying to delete it, please. I do not wish to delete it. There we go. Too much. It's always these subtle adjustments, and trying to adjust it while at this piss-poor angle hurts. There we go, that's a nice spot. Yank it back a little bit. That'll be good enough. Good enough. Alright, let's locate where the hell I'm burning. Turn on RCS, turn off SAS. And we will try this again. Oh, there it is. Urge, brakes. Warp cheat. There we go. So we have 36 minutes until the burn. Those that may watch my Dwarf Fortress LPs would recognize this tune in the background as one of the ones they use in SoundSense. There we go, 20 minutes. Seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I've enabled subtle controls as well. Which allow me to control this a little more precisely. Good enough. Alright, we should be good. Good to go. Alright, try not to crash this time, Silver. Alright, so let's get to my other little friend. It's too bad, too. I was at the perfect angle to slow down, and I found a really nice... It was a really nice spot we were landing on there. Just that I had too much warp on and panicked when it was... Alright, let's readjust my angle here. Because you can see when you're approaching it, it tries to push you away from this. You want to make sure you're adjusted back over to this. Let me do a little spin as well while I'm at it, actually. If I can. Kind of adjust myself around here. There we go. Let me also darken this for you guys a little bit. So it's a little bit too bright now. There we go. That's good. Alright. Try and bank myself a bit to the right. There's a lot of really good areas here to park this baby. Now, the reason you don't want to land in any of the craters, and why landing on something else like, say, Duna, and that's a little more easier, well, maybe not, but we'll see, it really depends, is that these craters are pretty much what, as you would just imagine, hills, and they have a bunch of different sides, or they like slide straight down. So if you land in one of those, you have to land at a bit of an angle, and that makes things incredibly difficult. A lot more difficult than they need to be. So I tend to try not to burn until 20,000, give or take. About 20,000 meters. And I only burn to adjust my course so that I'm dead center. Once I've achieved that, and also you want to slow down a lot too. You want to be under 200 meters a second at about 20,000 meters, otherwise you'll impact. Yeah, I'm approaching way too quickly again. So I should have burned at 30,000 or 30,000 when I realized how fast I was going. But I should still be good enough to slow myself down here. Yep, okay, I'm good. Okay, let me slow my burn here, because any more than this, I'm going to start speeding along here a bit too much. Now, after you've adjusted this thing to the center, you really don't need to follow it that much anymore. Like, even now, I don't really need to follow it much. So let me just get myself dead center, if I can. Okay, let's turn on the SAS, hit T. Kind of get yourself dead center if you can. And now you really, really have to be careful when you burn. Now when you hit the ground, try and hit the ground at about 2 to 4, I would say, meters a second if you can, give or take. Maybe 6 is acceptable, but once you hit the ground, you have to cut all of your engines, because if you overreact, I tend to overreact a lot, and I panic, and I'm like, oh god, I'm bouncing on the moon or something. You can't do that. If you do that, you die. You're more than likely just going to flip out and slam into the surface at a ridiculous speed. Now, oh, the reason why that thing went away is because I'm now escaping the moon. I'm now actually going higher. I'm rising. I'm not falling anymore, so that's why I cut the engines again. I'm trying to get it dead center again. Now, your shadow is a great thing to find, because once your shadow meets your ship, you've touched down. So let's, oh shit, my nav ball. I need that. So this is what I tend to do when I start getting down, like really close. Just burn, slow yourself down, stop. Kind of just toggle it around 10. Try and adjust yourself a little bit more to center if you can. Because you don't want to slide sideways if you can help it. And then once you really get close to the surface like I am right now, just do like a subtle burn like what I'm doing right now. A little bit more. It's too much. A little bit burn, a little bit burn, a little bit burn. And then cut engines, cut all engines. And we're landed on the moon. Houston, we've landed on the moon. Or whatever the Kerbal Space Program's, command center is called. Kerbal Command, we've landed on the moon. Yeah, baby. Now, I did not attach a parachute to the top of this. If I had, I could have probably returned to Kerbin. Now, I can also evacuate him at this point. And I can have him hop out and go hop around on the moon. Whee! Kind of like this. And splat. Oosh. I can also drop rovers on the moon and have him drive around. If you hit R, you will enable his jetpack, and you can have him fly around with space to have him just jump. Shift keeps him up. Control pushes him down, and then just forward and backward, and when you're in the air to WASD typical controls in order to keep him moving sideways. So there's no ladder on this thing, and jetpack fuel is limited. Let me plant the flag while I'm here though. Let's plant the flag. Yay! We've landed on the moon. Ha ha! New site. Oh, caps lock. Let's go first landing. See if I can get all that in a nice picture here. That's good. Let's do a screenshot of that there. Nice. Nice little screenshot of this little Kerbal on the moon with his little flag. So now we can head out of here. Now, your jetpack fuel is limited. If you want to recharge it, you need to get back into the ship, and that will refuel your jetpack fuel. Now, to do that, you need to find the hatch here, which is right there. Kind of trying to slow myself down. I don't want to ram anything. Now, if I were to ram one of these while they were, like, extended, I would actually destroy it. So you really want to be careful with that kind of thing. Now, let's get some energy here while we're at it. And then, likewise, if you wanted to, you know, even though, well, F and F to get back inside. If I wanted to, I could also just take back off and get out of here. So yeah, let me retract the panels. We have enough power right now. If I had something that used a lot of power, like if I turned on all the lights, you can see that lights everything up nice. Ooh, actually, you know what? That'd be even better here. Let me re-extend all these. And evacuate again. Oh shit! That was a mistake. So yeah, I accidentally screwed this up. I disengaged the fuel lines. So this is pretty much, we're toast now. We could have escaped. We could have escaped the atmosphere and actually gotten home with the fuel we had there before. It looks like I actually screwed up with the fuel lines. We're supposed to go from the outside in. They went from the inside out. So yeah, we're pretty much toast now, I think. This is not going to be enough to get him out of orbit, so he's going to crash right down and die. But regardless, that's landing on the moon. I may have screwed it up and hit space on the while I was in the ship, which disconnected all the lines. That was unintentional. I was never supposed to disconnect any of those, ever. Oh, excuse me. Alright. So we'll go back to the space center. Blah, 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 blah. Go back to the space center, and let's see. It's the last save was 2 minutes ago. Let's see if that was before I disconnected that thing or not. It was. Okay. Let me go to Jebediah Kerman. So I can still get that screenshot, it looks like. Yay! Yay! All little space kids in the world. Yay! Anyway. Alright, so plant your little flag on the moon here, little buddy. Moon site 1. Take it down, I can read the plaque. Alright. Let's get up top here. I'm just going to land right on the battery packs. Okay. Extend the solar panels. Extend the solar sails! Actually, if you had an electric-based engine, would that just use electricity and xenon gas, you could have, like, you know, an electric sail ship, in a sense. So let me re-angle this guy here, if I can get him to turn around. Come on, my friend, this way. This way. This way, you little bugger. Alright. Nice. Perfect. Alright, so now, let's head back to the planet properly, shall we? Oops, I forgot to hit space, or space. Shift. Yeah, space is a bad thing. Space is what disconnected that damn thing there earlier. Oh, shit. Can I adjust myself so I don't smack into that? I was worried about that because you could destroy that thing easily. A lot of these different parts are incredibly easy to destroy. Alright, so time to leave, boys. Time to leave. We've done well here. We've done well. So let me take a look at the fuel thing here. Where's my fuel line? Oh, that's what happened. My fuel line somehow disconnected. I don't know when or how, but it disconnected. So that's why it wasn't. The fuel is not feeding into the central engine. Check my orbit here. Now, when going back to Kerbal, it's pretty much just straight burning towards Kerbal a bit. Because once you leave the pole of the moon, you're going to be redirected again to the pole of Kerbal. So its gravitational pull will send you directly towards it. Slow that down a little bit. So I'm going to stop that entirely now till I get to where I'm going. So when I get to the prolapsus here, where I am pretty much ready to go, yeah. No, don't need to adjust that anyway like that. Wow, that is really messed up for a second there. So we'll just adjust myself. Oh yeah, I definitely need to kind of re-angle myself properly. Whoops, wrong direction. Whoops. There we... Oh, God, no. What the hell? So you can see this thing can be a little bit complicated at times. It's like I'm not trying to make it complicated, damn it. I just want you to adjust your course. Yeah, it's going to be complicated. Basically, no matter what I do here. Oh, wrong one. Where is Kerbal, actually? There it is. Let me just do this the manual way then, since the automatic kind of targeting things are proving to be not as useful. So I'm just going to point myself towards the old planet there and just burn, and hopefully that'll adjust my angle properly the way I want it to. So if I had a parachute, I'd be able to slow myself down in orbit a little bit and then deploy the parachute and I would land easily. But I'm pretty sure this guy's going to die on the return trip because I forgot to put the parachute on, and I forgot to set all the fuel to the central engine, which would have been much better because it has a much better thrust to it. Oh well, what can you do? Check my orbital map now. There we go. So once I reach the end of this, I should once again be pulled into the pull of the planet. Remove that. That maneuver's not supposed to be there anymore, but it is. It's weird. Anyway, let's speed up time a little bit. So I should again be pulled into the gravitational, you know, yank of the planet. Well, let me do this more subtle way like that, and then I can adjust my course when I get closer to it. So we'll start subtle, and we'll work our way from there. So where is that little bugger? There he is. Whoops. Kind of adjust myself in here. There we go. Alright, so 5 minutes to the burn, so let's do this thing. There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, cause even with the just the 3,000 monopropellant I brought with me, it was more than enough. I could even reduce that even more down to 1,000 maybe. 2 at most. That's all you really need. At the very least, I'll have a really nice orbit around Kerbal, even if I may not ever get there again. Because, yeah, I just don't have enough fuel left, I think, to arrive back there. But I could always send a rescue shuttle up here to get this guy out and have him recover him. All I'd have to do is make sure it has room enough for 2, an easy accessible crew hatch, and then get it as close as I can. Match speeds if I can, and then have him eject and rocket or jetpack his way over. I've actually done that with a couple times with some crews. Worked out generally pretty well. Alright, so at the very least, my friend, you will get back to Kerbal. I can promise you that much. You will likely die a horrible, fiery death, but I will at least get you back to Kerbal. Yeah, no, that's getting him. That's basically him going through the planet. Yep. That'll be the last burn. Although he probably won't have enough fuel for it, so he may go crashing to the planet or he may orbit it forever. It's really debatable at this point. 2 hours. Two minutes over the burn. Come on. Whoops. So I may be a little bit too off now. Whoopsies. Oh yeah, we're crashing into it. Nice. I shall return you to the world you have come from, my friend. You may not survive re-entry, but we will try. So yeah, if I'd brought a little bit more fuel with him, maybe... Oh, fuck. Whoops. Again, warping. Bad. Warping, very bad. The hell's left of it that it's still going? Whoops. So yeah, that's going to the moon and sort of back. That's what I'm going to call it. Going to the moon and sort of back. Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. And maybe I'll be able to get some more stuff up at some point. Maybe I'll manage to pilot my way over to Duna with a new ship. That would be most interesting. Of course, I'd have to dock with a space station. But anyway, have a good one, guys. See y'all next time. From the Dragon.